And what else would you sing to taunt them?
You would sing Catch a Falling Star.
Ooh. And put it in your pocket.
Yes.
Never let it fade away.
Fade away. Exactly.
That's fucked.
Jesus. Hello, welcome to Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. I'm Kate.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kirsten.
And today we will be discussing I Hate Fairyland, written and illustrated by Skottie Young, colored by Jean-Francois Beaulieu, and lettered by Nate Picos. I am going to throw it over to Jordan for our summary.
All right, so at the top of the episode, we're just going to say quick warning for gore. Also, this is very much not a child-friendly comic. It is billed as a black comedy fantasy, but it's also kind of a play on Portal fantasy. And I will say this is The World is on Fire, and I need something nihilistic and not very deep to read. So yeah, it's been about 5-6 years since the last time I picked this up, if that gives anyone a clue as to what I mean by The World is on Fire. Okay, so we are going to discuss Volume 1, which is titled Madly Ever After and combines issues 1 through 5. Yeah, so originally I had picked this up because of the cover. So you always hear don't judge a book by its cover. That doesn't really apply a lot in comics.
I was going to say, that's what covers are for, though.
I know.
They're there to get your attention.
Yes, especially in comics. So this comic, issue 1, is basically what the comic's about. It's got it's bright colors, this unhinged girl with curly green hair and a large blood-covered axe holding a terrified Looney Tunes-looking bomb, standing on a dead mushroom surrounded by dead unicorns and stuffed animals, and her little cricket companion is just smoking next to her. And that's very much the vibe of this comic series. The first issue was published in October 2015, and the original run, which is the run that I read, went through 2018. Originally, there were 20 issues. The comic has now started back up as of 2022 and has a new run, which we will discuss a little bit at the end, but I have not read the new run.
You know, it's the darndest thing. They say that, but actually the story ended at issue 20 and never continued. Tragically, we will never know what new ideas I Hate Fairyland had. Maybe it would have been a wonderful new series that took the character in a direction that continued their arcs and brought new insight to the people.
So Skottie Young says that he developed this concept while he was working at Marvel on the Wonderful Wizard of Oz series, and also cites Lobo and Tank Girl as influences on this comic. This is a comic that's published by Image Comics, so it's not a Big Two comic. Image was billed as one of the creator-owned comics.
And we're going to go into how Image was founded kind of in a different episode because I think that's really interesting.
Indie comics, the indie comics scene is a really interesting thing, and Image was probably one of the big flagships for getting more indie comics in the American space.
So the comic begins with this great quote. It was a nightmare, nothing but the green of her hair and the blood of my people. And then we're introduced to Gertrude, or Gert. So just a typical little girl playing in her room with her stuffed animals. Then all of a sudden a portal opens in her bedroom and starts sucking her through. So unlike a lot of Portal fantasies where the kids just kind of like nicely step into a different world or they're looking for an escape, Gertrude is holding on for dear life, trying not to get sucked in, screaming for her parents, as the narration says that it's going to be a dream for her to visit this wonderful fairyland, and her dreams are finally going to come true. So she crash lands in Fairyland and is very, very injured as she lands. Her arm is very clearly broken.
That's when I knew. That's when I knew. I was like, this is not going to be for me.
And immediately on landing, she meets Queen Claudia, who is the ruler of Fairyland. And Gertrude just looks at her and goes, "How do I get home?" And Queen Claudia just ignores this and decides that she's going to send this injured child on a quest with Larrington Wentworth III, or Larry, as her guide. This is the smoking cricket from the cover. I was assuming this was a play from Pinocchio.
Oh
with
yeah,
the, like,
he totally is. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next we see her, she's been on her quest for 27 years and has not aged. And she is very much no longer even remotely interested in being in this world. So, what becomes a running theme is the narrators of this world routinely get killed very quickly after they are introduced. So, we find out the narrator of this issue is the Moon, who is very rude to Gert before she decides, you know what, I'm not going to take this, and turns her gun on him. Then Larry points out that, well, the stars just saw her kill the Moon, so maybe they should get rid of the witnesses. So they turn their guns on the stars. Queen Claudia is looking up at the sky and sees falling stars and is going, oh, this is nice. I haven't seen so many falling in a while, until the stars, the dying stars, start landing on her and on her little balcony area. And she realizes that this is Gert. And this is where we get in comic the quote that we began with, where the star is looking up at Queen Claudia and going and describing how Gert is destroying all of the stars. At this point, Queen Claudia wants to kill Gert and is reminded of the rule that she cannot harm any guest of Fairyland. So she decides to put a hit out on Gert. Next, Gert goes to Las Fungus, which is basically Las Vegas, and decides to rob a casino because she can. It's been 27 years. She is having a hard time finding her way out of this land, so she might as well have some fun. But she gets captured by one of the mushroom cops, who zaps her with a frog gun and brings her to the Slug Lord for trial by riddle. She then escapes, eats the mushroom cops, starts tripping, and jumps out a window onto the flying pig that Larry got for her. Yeah, so they manage to escape and make it to Ice Cream Island, where they find the first of the assassins that has taken up Queen Claudia's quest to kill Gert. It's a giant who has multiple swords, skull knee pads, and the issue ends as he shows up to kill her. Issue 2, we have a new narrator, and it's a little mouse that is narrating what has happened, and Gert accidentally smashes with a mug as she is in a tavern using the head of the guy that was sent to kill her as a puppet as she's talking to the barkeep. So she makes an accidental wish from the wishing ale that she had been drinking to look normal, and swells up because she wants to look normal, as in look her 37 years at this point. But instead, she looks like someone who has only eaten sugar for 27 years.
Yeah, it's Fairyland. Everything's cotton candy and all that stuff.
Not great for your complexion.
No.
So she's like all broken out, and it's awful. Then we switch to Queen Claudia, who has been informed that Gert killed the huntsman who was sent to assassinate her. So she goes on to Plan B and calls up a witch she knows named Horabella to set a trap and kill Gert. We then see the witch, who in Snow White Evil Queen vibes has a fruit that she gives to this cute little fawn. And we see the fawn take a bite of it, and something happens, and we find out that as the fruit drops to the ground, it's not fruit, it's a spoiled cursed brain, and the fawn is now a zombie. So that is going to come back as Gert is now in some type of liquid looking for the key. So she is still continuing her quest because she does want to get home. But she can't find the key and what she's looking in. And so she climbs out of a blue vine, and we see that she is actually climbing out of the stomach area of a dead giant, during which she and Larry are now arguing about whatever rhyme that they now have for the quest to help them find the key. So they're arguing if they should have been killing giants or trolls, or where the clue was supposed to lead them. To be
specific, it is whether or not they're dealing with tickle trolls or giggle giants.
Yes. So things like that in this fun little fairyland. But yeah, so as she and Larry are arguing, we zoom out and see a trail of dead giants and the sun just cringing and hiding behind the mountains to avoid Gert.
Well, she saw what she did with the moon.
Yeah. And Gert's quest now takes her on the trail through the forest that we saw the Horabella giving the fruit to a fawn, and she comes across the brain with a bite out of it. But she's not worried. She's just going to go into the abandoned village. She sees another bar that she's going to hang out in. And then as she opens the bar, she sees, oh, this is fun. There's a bunch of zombie fawns who are now just eating something. All we see are the organs. We don't know who or what they were eating. But then Larry pulls out from his hat the axe that she took off the huntsman to give to her as she starts killing the zombies before they can kill her. As she goes back out of the tavern, the panel zooms out and we see that, oh, it's not just a few fawns. The entire town is infested with zombies. And she is going to have to either get eaten or make her way through them. So that issue ends, and now it looks like our new narrator is a town crier in a cute little town. Unfortunately, it seems he is the only non-zombie in this town, and Gert accidentally kills him as she's making her way through the zombies. So this is also where it's clarified that Larry has a top hat of holding, which is really fun, and comes back after what I think is a fun issue after this initial volume, where we find out what happens when you just keep shoving things into your bag of holding and never clean it out. So we find out when we go back to Claudia that she is consulting the Book of All, which is basically the Fairyland book that has all of the rules for how Fairyland has to function. And she is still trying to find a way that she can kill Gert and find another child to get the key and go on the quest. But the book says that only one child is allowed through until the key is found, and the door between Fairy World and Gert's world will stay closed until then. So another reason that Claudia wants another child to find the key is because as soon as someone else finds the key, Gert would no longer be considered a visitor in Fairyland, and Claudia could actually then just kill her because she would be considered a citizen of Fairyland. This point that Gert cannot die as a visitor is kind of driven home in the majority of the rest of this issue, where Gert takes a really bad fall off of cliff, and we watch a couple seasons or possibly years pass as she is unconscious, in theory, I guess, healing at the bottom of this cliff. We watch her little cricket build himself a house, have a family leaves, and he burns the house down before Gert finally wakes up. And Gert is woken up by a little girl named Happy who has a butterfly guide. And it turns out somehow Claudia was able to open a door and get another little girl through. Gert finds out that this little girl was supposed to replace her. So she goes to attack the little girl, who just blasts her with a rainbow and slams Gert into a tree. And it looks like Gert might be dead this time. However, Larry, unfortunately, in the next issue...
Unfortunately for us, she is still alive.
Unfortunately for Larry and the new narrator, who is a slug, who has to give Larry the unfortunate news, Gert is alive, and once Larry has the news, he kills the slug. Claudia is getting her hair done, which is... I thought it was fun. I thought the art was fun, where it's showing like different cloud formations for her hair. When Gert pulls her through a mirror into a mirror realm for a chat, and that's how Gert finds out who Happy is and what will happen to her if Happy gets the key first. So Gert then, as she has been unable to find the key for 27 years, decides that, well, I can't do this the good way. I'm going to find one of the 7 evil dooms, get the power from them, and take out Happy, since I can't find the key. We then get to see Happy flying through her quest, having the time of her life, helping all of these people, and the riddles and clues and helpful items that Happy gets are decidedly different from what Gert had gotten. And that is a fact that Gert actually mentions when they first meet, where she was like, how did you already get here? It took me 27 years to get here. And Happy's going, well, I just got this thing and it immediately took me here. And Gert's going, I didn't get anything that useful when I was helping. So we can see that there's clear bias in how Gert was being helped through Fairyland and how Happy is being helped through Fairyland. And then to drive this home, as Gert is searching for one of the 7 evil dooms, we get to see her hacking and slashing her way through the darker parts of Fairy. And then we see this fabulous castle that is basically a giant skull wearing the castle as a crown. And so Gert enters this realm of skulls.
I want that as a house. I want that to be my house. Just
I
like,
love it.
What's your house? Oh, just like imagine a giant a stone skull sculpted out of the ground, and then have a castle on it that looks like a crown. That's like the best design of anyone's house that's ever lived.
Yes, and it's so hard to get to the front door, so you would have very few solicitors.
Oh, don't worry. The solicitors find a way. It's everybody else who has a hard time.
So she basically goes through the front door and asks the Lord for his powers, and he goes, yeah, sure, just make it through my dungeon. And so as the floor is opening and Gert is about to jump through to face the challenges, Larry just goes, yeah, my back's kind of sore. I think I'm going to stay up here until you're done. And then this ends with Gert being face to face with some kind of demonic anglerfish in the bowels of this castle. And with issue number 5, we find out that the son, who is now the narrator, is actually alive for more than the first page. So he's showing all of the fun and happy places Happy has been going on her quest. And he narrates her finally finding the key. And as soon as she touches it, she's transported to the door out of Fairy. And she's saying thank you to everyone. And then suddenly Claudia is getting a little bit pushy, trying to get her through the door. And the ground is starting to shake. So the son stops his narration because something is up, until Claudia yells at him and tells him to keep narrating as she is literally trying to push Happy through the door. Then a dragon breaks through the ground, kills the son just as the son gets to bad-mouthing Gert, and Gert is now riding the dragon. So we then flashback and get to see how Gert made her way through the dungeon and not only won her powers, but won a new dad. Because the Lord of the Castle is so happy that she was able to beat all of his challenges, and he gives her his powers and says that he wishes that she was his daughter, and it's really cute, especially since it's been 27 years since Gert has had a family.
This is a guy who is approximately like 25 feet tall, and he looks like a guy who shakes Sauron down for lunch money. Like his entire decor is just a mountain of bones, and he's like, "Ah, that was so cool what you did there. I'm so proud of you."
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so back in the present, Gert and Happy are fighting over the key. And so Happy uses her rainbow plush blast on Gert, but this time Gert is able to absorb it, and the ground breaks open under Happy, and she falls underground. Gert gets the key and opens the portal to go home. However, before she steps through, Claudia goads her one last time until Gert turns around and kills her. After which, the door to home locks, trapping Gert back in Fairyland, as per the rules, whoever kills the Queen of Fairyland must now become the Queen of Fairyland. And that is where Volume 1 ends.
She's so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she had been trapped in this nightmare realm for 27 years.
No,
Claudia
that is not
trying
an
to kill her.
excuse. You were about to leave.
She was
This
a
is what you wanted
10-year-old.
for-
She was a 10-year-old when she was dragged here.
And as she reminds us throughout the whole comic, she is no longer 10.
Right, but she had no one to raise her. So she, like,
Mentally,
other than a chain-smoking
you're
cricket.
literally, you spent like 20 years, Jordan, no, Jordan, she spent 20 years looking for that stupid key. She got the key. The door is right, like 2 feet in front of her. But no, she's got to like, oh, I'll do one up, I got to kill the queen first.
Mm-hmm.
Go, leave.
And then the run would be over. We got comics. As we had briefly alluded to at the very beginning, the initial run of this comic, issues 1 through 20, was viewed very positively. And as Tom has mentioned, the newer run is not getting quite the same positive reviews.
I have not read up to the most recent stuff because I stopped. It goes in a direction that makes me feel like, I don't know, like I don't like putting words in creators' mouths, but it feels kind of... So, Skottie Young did a really good adaptation of The Wizard of Oz as a comic book. Wonderful art, wonderful everything, great stuff. It was done for Marvel. And that's clearly, like, he's riffing on that with I Hate Fairyland, with, like, all the violence and stuff. But, like, at a certain point, because Oz is in the public domain, Dorothy shows up and is, like, the new main character, which is not the worst thing, but it's then Dorothy doing all of the I Hate Fairyland things, and it's just like... Now, I understand a creator not liking their own work or something, or having this feeling, but, like, I don't know. It feels very weird. I don't want to say it's because he doesn't like it. I think he does stand by his Oz work. He's still is proud of it from what I've seen in interviews. It's just such a weird thing to see. There's other stuff they do where they... I mean, I don't want to spoil it for people if they do genuinely, like, I want to go read the new series. Read it, make up your own mind, but there is a decision very early on, at one point, not very early on, there is a decision they take that undermines everything that I think would be interesting going forward into this series. And that's not even the Dorothy thing. But yeah, like, it goes from, like, I like the original I Hate Fairyland as, like, a very over-the-top, like, it is a grindhouse splatter story, but the revival reminds me too much of Happy Tree Friends.
Yes! Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I'm not familiar.
Damn, Kate. Okay. Tom.
Early 2000s edgy internet humor of showing cute characters getting, meeting violent ends.
It was just like a time of the internet that was just so specific.
It's a very specific time of the internet where the edgy humor was, what if cute things said a curse word, which is actually one of the things that I do genuinely love. I genuinely love this in I Hate Fairyland because no one's allowed to swear in Fairyland. So they're constantly having... It's very Good Place, if you've ever seen that show. So there's no way that they can say any muffin fudging curses. And it just gets very... I find it very funny in how, like... Everything is very, like, saccharine. And that's why they make the joke about her eating nothing but sugar, because, like, the only things in this world are sugary. Everything in here is, like, candy colored and all of that. And the idea of her getting stuck in that for decades, like, yeah, that would probably drive a lot of people crazy.
The fact that they don't all have scurvy.
Well, she can't die. She can't get scurvy.
It's true.
Well, so scurvy would just prevent her from healing and all of her wounds would reopen. So it wouldn't necessarily...
Okay. We need to get Skottie Young on the podcast so we can ask how scurvy works in Fairyland. You know what? If he's not a fan of me being critical of the revival series, then you know what? Like, I will sit this one out if someone asks him about how scurvy works.
No, who's going to be sitting out? Me. Because I have not one good thing to say about this comic, and I don't want to be rude to what's his name, Skottie Young, because this was just so not for me.
Sorry, Kate.
No, it's not you. You didn't write it, and I'm glad that you loved it, and I'm glad that it gave you pleasure in a horrible dumpster fire year. But, like, what do you like about it?
This is the stuff that, like, the world is on fire, and I just need something, like, colorful and, like, I like the twisting of the different conventions, and honestly, the art I find fascinating. Like Tom was saying, the guy with the skull castle, and I love that.
Yeah.
So it's fun art where I'm like, everything is terrible, and I just need something lighthearted and also a little cathartic.
This is lighthearted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kirsten, what are your thoughts?
I loved this so much. It, like...
Oh my
Yay.
God.
I'm so glad.
Here's the thing. Like, I was that weirdo on the internet who, like...
Yeah.
Loved the cute but terrible things. And so this, like, gave me such...
If you were someone who was a fan of Joan and Vasquez, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, Invader Zim...
Yeah.
Like, all that sort of thing.
All those, like, really fucked up shows. Like, I haven't seen anything, like, quite on that level since, like, Rick and Morty came out. But when did you say this came out?
2015 through 2018 was the initial run.
Happy Tree Friends came out 19 years ago, by the way. But no, that makes sense. It's like in the same era.
But yeah, whoever at Nickelodeon thought, let's give the guy who wrote Johnny the Homicidal Maniac license to do a kids show. First off, thank you, because Invader Zim is fantastic. But at the same time, there's a reason the Christmas episode was not allowed to be aired.
This is very much like a, I don't know, if it's old enough you can say it's a throwback, but otherwise it's like trying to ride on the trend if it is. So I don't know what you would call that, but
It made me very nostalgic for like that time of the internet when things were weird and everybody was okay with it.
yeah, no, this comic is like very Salad Fingers if anyone else remembers that from the internet.
That's fucked. But yes.
Yes.
I just like the whole like little girl getting stuck in a world that she can't get out of, can't control, and is constantly sabotaged, which is what like originally I'm like, okay, so maybe Gert's just like going off and doing random things because she says she's been here for 27 years and we don't actually see her trying to find the key very much until Happy shows up and she's like, what do you mean it's been so easy for you? I did the exact same things at the beginning and I got crap answers. And that just, I'm like, okay, Gert, you can take out half the world. I don't care anymore. Go for it.
I think it's funny that you guys, like, I didn't get, I see it now, but I didn't get Wizard of Oz vibes. I was thinking more like, what if Timmy Turner got dragged into, I don't know what they call it, the
I swear,
fairy godparents.
it might be literally called Fairyland and Fairly Odd Parents.
Like, the art style really reminded me of
Oh,
Fairyland.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's very, very fair. Like it will. Okay, I just posted in chat like some of his Wizard of Oz art, which is actually a bit more expressionistic than this.
Ooh,
But
that's pretty.
yeah, no,
That's
his Wizard of Oz art is amazing. Like, no, genuine. As someone who is a diehard Wizard of Oz fan, like I read multiple books in the original L. Frank Baum series, and if you're saying, wait, there are more than one Wizard of Oz book, there are so many, and I love them. Also, it's very funny to tell people nowadays, especially when they're younger teenagers, that one of the more beloved characters in the series is a guy named TikTok, because then I could tell them that Dorothy Gale, when she went to Oz, had TikTok, and he was actually the most happening technology out there. He's a little clockwork guy, but yeah, it's so the Wizard of Oz art is very different from, like, it has the vibe. It has like a similar vibe, but the Wizard of Oz art is way more expressionistic and kind of almost looks like something that would be like a drawing of stuff that would later be stop motion animated. And then when you get to I Hate Fairyland, everything is like this mishmash of straight lines and round edges and how they don't look right together. Yeah, that's the best way I could describe it, is that it's a bunch of like stuff that's too round or too straight and skinny.
I love the art style. It's just so much fun. And the I Hate Fairyland art style actually made me recognize and pick up Strange Academy because it's also a Skottie Young drawn and written series. It's completely different. So Kate, I think, would actually like Strange Academy because it's very much a magic school. And it's a Marvel property, so it's not going to have like the gore and everything, but it does have a similar theme in that what happened, they're not like the destiny of the characters and what happens if you keep telling people that, well, because of your parents or because of the situation you're in, you're just going to be evil. And what happens when you keep telling someone that? And it's a very different storyline and trend, and it's something very different than what happens to Gert. But I would say absolutely read that run. It's beautiful. It's well written. It has very interesting characters that get time to develop. So I might make y'all read that at some point. And Kate, I think you would like it because I know you like magic schools.
Jordan,
It has
you are thin ice.
It is very, very different than it's not the same vibes at all as I Hate Fairyland. It's just the same, like,
a cool down on Skottie Young for a while.
Yeah, I mean, far down the road. It's completely different though. And that is one of the things that I think Skottie Young does well, is that he's able to write different things based on what he's trying to do with the story. It's not you're not going to pick up a book and go, okay, so I kind of know based on this author what the story beats are going to be. And I like that he doesn't get like typecast. Although he does also write Deadpool. So, I mean, he got some of that.
That's the least surprising thing after having read this. Being like, oh, this
Yeah.
is someone who would later go on to write for Deadpool. Oh yeah, Deadpool is this character. Like Gert is Deadpool in
Yeah.
that, except Deadpool doesn't resent the world he's in. He just plays it to his advantage. Like he recognizes he's in a fictional comic, and as such, it's going to be a comic book whether you like it or not. And he leans into it. Gert resists the world she's in. Deadpool leans into it, but that's, I think, the big difference.
I like when people are drawn into worlds they're supposed to be like. So this feels like more of the like real world fairy than the like a lot of Portal fantasies where you're dropped into like this perfect fantasy world. It's a no. This is so. It feels more Wicked than Wizard of Oz, which I prefer Wicked because it's it's not a happy world. There's politics and power struggles going on in the background, and it feels more like a when you're talking about real world versions of fairy. It's you don't eat the fairy food, you don't make deals with them, you don't give them your name. Fairies are not nice and pretty. They're you got to be careful.
And that's fine. Like, I'm okay with, like, horrible worlds and, like, characters trying to navigate that. But then I have to have, like, good characters or likable characters or at least ones that I want to root for or kind of go on this journey with them. And I did not get that with Gert.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I think that's something that you and I disagree on because I
Yeah.
immediately am like she has been trapped here and I understand her frustration, especially being met with like someone who has been given the easy path. And like Happy came through, she was not dropped on her face and had her arm broken immediately upon entering. She is quite literally happy to be there versus Gert was screaming and clawing at her room trying not to be dragged in here. And I feel for her. And I did have that moment at the very end where like, no, don't turn around, don't kill her, just go through the door. But then the comic series would be over.
See, I'm very much a watch the world burn type of person. So I was like, yeah,
And
kill
y'all
her.
call me the Joker.
Like, she's terrible. Just kill her. She tortured you for years. You need to do like one last solid.
This is where our differences really come into play because Jordan, and actually, I'm not sure, Kirsten, your opinion on these characters, but like, you hate Superman and Captain America, and I'm like,
I don't
those are the kind of, what?
I don't hate them. I find and so Cap less so. Superman I just find boring most of the time. I don't hate him. And Supergirl's mostly interesting. But I just a lot of the stories that are Superman I find supremely boring. That was actually the first movie I ever fell asleep during, and the reason I thought Henry Cavill couldn't act was it was the Superman that he was in. The very first one. I don't think I watched any of the others. And I love superhero movies. I usually go to like the midnight premieres, but I watched that one and fell asleep.
I mean, it is a movie that is the color of.
Dirt.
Well, I was going to say it's the color of you not thinking of a good color. Like it is the color of that color.
I'm so sorry, Kate. You don't find the
No more
conversation
apologies.
between what happens when someone is given an easy path in everything in life versus someone who has been working as hard as she could for years and years until she's finally cracked and given up and just gone, you know what? I'm done.
Number one, I think that there are other stories that tell that situation better. In fact, that's quite a popular storyline. And number two, I think that don't we just have Gertrude's word that she tried super hard? Because we didn't see anything. We didn't see any of that.
We didn't, but we see like the flashback when she's talking to Happy about like her memory. So I don't think she says aloud to Happy very much of what happened, but we do see like in the flashback her in the same spot Happy was, and Happy's given like this really easy path and like the exactly what she needed. And then Gert is given like this confusing riddle and like I don't actually have what you need, but you'll find it.
Because Gert sucks, and they knew that. And they were like, I don't want to help this stinky girl.
She didn't
She
want to be there
sucks.
either.
Well, apparently she did because she had to like do, get her one little like in before she left through the door that she was waiting 20 years to get. She obviously wanted to be here Otherwise, she just would have ran through that door.
The Queen had it coming.
I don't even, like, disagree. Like, even the Queen sucks. Everybody sucks in this. But, like, the Queen wanted her gone. Gertrude wanted to get gone. So go! And then you solve everybody's problems. I rest my case.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was very one note, right? Like, so I know this is supposed to be, like, a funny comic, and I'm sure that, like, people laugh. But the joke is that, oh, she looks like a cute little 10-year-old or whatever, and then there's like like a shit ton of gore and violence, and like she's not allowed to curse, so instead she says like, oh, fluff off and stuff. It's like, okay, that's the one joke, and then that one joke is stretched for the entire volume.
Did you ever watch Invader Zim growing up?
I didn't like it.
Okay.
That explains
Probably
a
should
lot.
have started there. So this is just very much not a Kate comic.
No.
See, this is why I say, like, I'm never going to have y'all read Berserk for an episode. Because, like, that every single one of you is going to have this exact reaction Kate's having right now. And you're never going to let me recommend a comic ever again after that. So that's why I'm not having y'all ever read Berserk.
Look, I'll read Berserk over JoJo's. So, you know.
I mean, I'll read Berserk.
Don't raise any devils you don't want to put down.
Say, I think from this, Kirsten and I would be willing to put it down because we both are like, yeah, at some point you got to burn down the world if it's just torturing you.
I mean, listen, I don't have to enjoy something to like have good discussions about it,
Yeah.
right? So like, yeah, so even if I hated Berserk, which like I'm telling you right now, like I probably will not love it, we could still have good discussions about it.
Oh yeah, but I'll explain it later. But like, yeah, it's just there's a lot, so much. There is so much.
Okay.
I think I can enjoy this as a novelty, but also if it's something where you're going into it and if you don't have patience for this kind of thing, I could definitely see this being just an absolute nightmare to read through.
Yeah, this is a very, like, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also one where I don't read this. I read this when the world is on fire and I feel like I can't do anything to stop it. And I'm like, well, let's just read something nihilistic and fun.
But that's also like you and me are just so different because at that dark point in time, that's when I want to read like the Captain Americas or the Supermans and like just reignite my hope for humanity again.
See, I'd read this on the daily. Like, I don't even have to be sad. I'm thinking I want to cosplay her as her. Like, I
that'd
like
be
it this
fun.
much.
Do it.
Yeah, you would rock that.
Are we far enough into the podcast for me to say why I really hate the revival?
Yes.
So, spoiler warning for the revival of I Hate Fairyland. If you want to kind of like go into that with just kind of like fresh ears, fresh eyes.
Save
and you
yourselves.
don't want to be spoiled.
Don't do it.
Oh.
Save yourselves.
Don't do.
So, in the revival, fundamentally, so by the end of the series, Gert is turned back into like her actual chronological age and is a regular adult, and she is back in the real world and happy that she is like no matter how bad things get, she is happy that she's not in Fairyland anymore. The new series brings her back. It also brings back Happy because they're just like, hey, remember Happy? Happy's back. But here's the thing. They also decide to do, and you mentioned Rick and Morty, and I definitely think this is where this came from. They do a Rick and Morty style, like, there's a bunch of alternate universe versions of me running around. And a kid version of Gert from another universe kills the adult Gert, who is the, main character from this entire series who had to grow up and all this stuff. That she gets killed off, and then the kid Gert who killed her is now the main character. And I felt that really rubbed me the wrong way because I'm like, oh, okay, so we had actually a character who had changed over time and stuff like that. And you're now straight up resetting way back to square one. And also, like, right after they're like, oh, yeah, we're brought back Happy, too, as another character. So it's just like, oh, okay. When you say, Kate, when you say there's, like, one joke in this comic,
Mm-hmm.
the revival for me burned me so hard on, like, how do I say, basically going, hey, remember that one joke? It's
Yep.
not even the joke anymore. It's just, hey, remember the joke? That was a funny joke. And so that's why I'm burned on the revival series. And if you like it or if it gets good, then excellent for you. But like that's when it ran out for me.
Part of the idea with like Image Comics is in like DC and Marvel, so many of their characters are trapped within the worlds because like Batman and Superman, because they have certain roles that they have to fulfill and they have to like keep coming back week by week because people want to keep reading those comics. Image Comics, which is owned by creators, is allowed to have endings. So if the characters grow, you're allowed to end the series on that good note and start something new. And it seems like it's not always the best idea to take a character who has grown and shown that they have like completed their storyline and just kind of restart it like they do at the big two.
It's why my favorite superheroes are not like the big ones. It's the characters who took up the mantle of that superhero later, because the original ones, the big ones, are going to come back and they're going to reassert that they're the main character, but because of that they have to be reset back to square one. Like Spider-Man can't ever have a good break because Peter Parker's always got to be having the worst time of his life. But on the other hand, because of that, Miles Morales has the potential to actually get to have the character development because he's not Peter Parker and not having to get reset all the time. So that's kind of like why I like those supporting characters. Like Laura Kinney gets to have more development than like Logan Wolverine, even though she is literally a clone of Wolverine. Don't ask. Long story. She's literally a clone of Wolverine, but she gets to have that development because she's not the probably second most marketable Marvel character after Spider-Man. And yeah, Image Comics, one of the big things with Image, and this is straight up why I love this series. Image is why Invincible is able to be such a good series, because Invincible, it doesn't have to reset to square one. Like over the course of that series, Invincible, he actually gets to grow up and become an adult and later on a father and have a family, and like it's such a different thing to see compared to a lot of the big two comics and stuff like that. Like Batman will keep adopting these orphans, but they never get to grow up too far, for different reasons for Jason Todd. But for most of them, they never get to grow up because the story doesn't allow them to develop. And that is something, the ability to end a story is something that is really nice that Image Comics offers.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, I just want to point out, so far the only comic book character that I've really liked was the Punisher. So I feel like I'm keeping on theme, on brand for Kirsten.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, to be fair, it was a well-written Punisher. Like, it was very good Frank Castle. You were getting good Frank Castle. There are some writers who really do bad jobs with the Punisher, but like, I think, actually, I was going to say, honestly, Kirsten, you probably, like, I don't know, I don't want to say you would like Berserk, but there are certain things you would probably very much identify with in Berserk.
From what I've heard of Berserk, I feel like I would like it. But also I've heard it's incredibly sad. So
That's actually part of why I rant about Berserk. Why I want to, like, one of the things I want to say is that people always stop reading Berserk at the saddest point in the story and the most upsetting. And because it's the most sad and upsetting part, people think of it as this ultimate tragedy, and that story arc is a tragedy. But the whole point is, like, if you look at where that is in the entire run, you're like a 20% through probably, and the rest of that run is about building up from there and building up to become, like, to reconstruct your sense of self and your identity with people who you can care about. And it's so important to that series, and nobody ever reads it. No one ever talks about it. It's always like reactions to the most shocking part of Berserk, and then like they drop off of it because they're like, nah, it's just too dark, too gross, too, like, just, there's some really nasty stuff in that book series. But like, they're just like, it's basically like if people stopped reading Song of Ice and Fire at the Red Wedding.
Also, Kirsten has read and loved Made in Abyss, And so
Yeah,
I feel
I
like
always forget that.
yeah.
Love it so much.
Made in Abyss is good.
Kate, the anime is so beautiful. The music is amazing. The kids have some problems. Just a
Yeah,
little bit.
I don't disagree with you. I'm sure it's very beautiful,
They get
but
better.
also I've heard horror
They
stories.
get better. It's a good story, okay, guys? It's a found family, Kate.
Don't you dare.
It's a found
Don't
family.
you-
It literally is a
No,
found
it-
family.
No. No.
Every part of that is
Kirsten.
found family.
Kirsten, the last time you talked to me trying to get me to watch Madoka, you were like, it's a magical girl series. And then you're like, was I wrong?
Was I?
No, no. It's not. That is not. If you were telling somebody about Madoka Magica, it's a magical girl series, would be very misleading.
You know what? I stand by it.
It'd be like saying I Hate Fairyland is an isekai.
It is,
I Hate
though.
Fairyland is a power fantasy isekai. It is. You are technically correct.
Can somebody tell me that Happy grows up miserable and like does not live up
No,
to their name?
Happy got
Yes.
eaten by the earth.
She got absorbed. She falls down the shaft and like becomes the queen of hell, and
Okay.
like leads an army of demons to like retake Fairyland. That is the first arc of the revival.
You know what? I support that.
It's good to see women supporting women. Listen, I'm not on the side of one or the other. I'm just on the side of revenge in general. It's like watching a sport. I'm just here for the love of the game.
I just hope the two teams have a good time.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Let us board Thomas the Take Engine. Who besides me has some hot takes and controversial opinions? Because I think I have aired out all of mine.
We've talked a little bit about the revival, which I have
Yeah,
not read.
that's my hot take.
Is that it's bad?
It's that the revival seems to run what I liked about the first series into the ground and reverses course on the interesting parts of the story. That's my general vibe. My other vibe is if you like Wizard of Oz, read Skottie Young's Wizard of Oz comics for Marvel. They are a delight. It's not anything like this. That's the thing, is that it's not like, if you liked
Alright.
this, read this. This is literally not anything like this.
Okay. You never talked about why you like this comic, Tom.
I have a deep and abiding love for deliberately transgressive comics that are in an independent scene that don't make me actively just hate the author. I know that sounds weird, but there's so many indie comics where, again, and I said I don't like ascribing meaning to the author, but like there are certain things where you read something and you're just like, okay, this guy has some opinions that he's going to tell us about various people in our communities. Like, you don't want to read those. I don't like those indie comics. But the weird outsider art where somebody doesn't even necessarily have to be doing something I like, but if they're doing something that they are expressing themselves and they are refining their expression to such a degree that it's beyond just the utility of telling the story, when they're like doing something so like over the top and crazy, but you can see that there's effort and thought behind how they do it, and they've refined their craft of doing weird transgressive art, I will always have a soft spot in my heart for it, even if I don't like it. The thing I always say is I don't like the movie The Devil's Rejects. It is not a movie for me, but I am very happy I live in a world where it exists and that people can make a movie like that, because it was made by a bunch of people who really believed in that project and believed in making that movie. And frankly, I prefer that existing than like every other generic low budget, like, just, I mean, it's the term that everyone overuses nowadays, but the slop movies, like, we're going to just, crank out another one of these every day. Or now it's superhero movies, but previously there was like kind of like Hunger Games rip-off stuff, then there was Harry Potter rip-off stuff, and just like there's always this churn of stuff. And then when you have something like I Hate Fairyland, like The Devil's Rejects, that's just weird outsider art that's like deliberately independent from these sorts of things, I will always have a soft spot in my heart for anything like that. And also, I have a lot of affection for Looney Tunes cartoons and old school kind of some of it's the Fleischer era, some of it's the old Warner Brothers stuff, but like any of those cartoons, I will always have affection for, and like that's also present here with the art. So that's kind of why I Hate Fairyland. I have an immense affection for when I see someone who's like a weird outsider doing their thing. I don't know, like I love seeing something made by someone who cares about what they're making. Even if it's something that's weird that I'm just like, I don't even know if I like this, but I like that it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, am I glad that it's out in the world? Yes. Am I glad that other people enjoy it and find comfort in it and all of that? Yes, I am. Not for me.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Then I am going to move us to the best or worst drip. So who had the best or worst outfits?
The Lord of Skulls had the best outfit, clearly.
The Lord of Skulls has a great outfit where he's wearing, like I said, he looks like a guy who would shake Sauron down for lunch money. The mercenary, the bounty hunter, also looks like something from a different style of comic. He is drawn with a lot of these extra, kind of shadowy lines and all that. And he's got this very serious looking armor. He'd probably be like a rogue faction leader in a Conan the Barbarian story. Like, I love when you get to see stuff like that in this, where it's like something that is so incongruous with this style. That is kind of part of what makes it fun, because it's so different from everything you're looking at. But hands down, the best outfit is the castle being worn like a crown on the skull.
Kirsten, you liked Gertrude's outfit, right?
Yeah.
So much that you wanted to cosplay her.
Yeah, no, I like Gertrude's outfit. It is very loud and different from her personality. I especially love like evil Gertrude, and like she has like the glowing green eyes, and she's like all powerful.
Riding a dragon.
Yes, it really just ties everything in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also, like Jordan mentioned it in, I think it was the summary, but I actually liked the scene where Queen Claudia was getting her hair done, because I thought that the little different styles of the clouds on her head, like, it was cool art. All right. Best words. So what words or what quotes were the best in the story?
So, I mean, I kind of already said mine, and it was the quote at the very beginning that got me into the story. And I'm like, well, now I have to continue to read this. Where, so it was a nightmare. Nothing but the green of her hair and the blood of my people.
What my favorite number one is the riddle, because I want to know what the full riddle was when she was put on trial by Riddle by the Slug Lord. Oh, also, actually, for the best drip, also in Las Fungus, they're basically all little British bobbies, but the top of the mushroom cap is their like helmet. That's also a really great design. I love that design. But yeah, the Slug Lord is like he gives this entire long riddle, and I want to figure it out. And I don't know. I don't think there's an answer. I think that's part of the point of like how stuff gets stacked up against her, is that there's no answer to the riddle. But it's like, here's a skull of the witch's brew. The brew is in the belly of a 1-ton hen's bun, covered up in jelly, hidden by a viper's nod, off into the slumbers, dreaming of a gleaming dove and half a dozen blinders, who drink from the spring of time but have no time to waste, and who eat from the ranged mine but can't stand the taste, despite the sugar-filled deposits of the nice and fuzzy stomach cramps. There's just still the buzzing of the half-beloved bubble lamps, who only care about the darkness if left to their own devices, and would gladly trade your hope for a glass of toasted ices to melt away the velvet clay left behind by the last squee. Answer this, and only then will you escape the mines of dung and set yourself free. And I'm just like, man, I want to figure out what this riddle means. Like, that's just me. I'd like you to give me a riddle, and you could just like put that under a box with a little stick propping it up, and you'll catch me.
You should email Skottie Young.
Skottie Young, what's the answer to the riddle? You wrote this back like 11 years ago. 11 years ago, you wrote a riddle. What's the answer? Yeah, other thing is probably they weren't tickle trolls, they were giggle giants. But there's one which I can't find, but it was it's one of this issue's starts. It's the start of issue 2, where there's the mouse narrating, and he realizes he's narrating Gertrude's story, And he says, "Oh God, no!" Because he knows that every time someone narrating her story, they get killed off one way or the other. And it's just like, "Oh no, I just realized I'm like it's this is a reference none of y'all will get, but it's the Pontypool line of do not read this in English." Line where, like, by the time you've gotten to that line, you've already broken the rule and read it in English.
All right. Any other words or quotes?
So I really like at the beginning when she's shooting the stars down, the cannonballs actually talk, or whatever they are, and like they're giving themselves a pep talk as they're going to murder the stars. One of them's like, "All right, boys, I want to hear breaking bones and grown stars crying for their mommies and daddies." And like the other cannon is mocking them by singing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." And that is great.
You don't find that funny at all, Kate?
I think that the concept is funny, but like in the comic it wasn't funny, if that makes sense. Like, was this also at the point where this was like the gory stars?
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean they're getting shot out of the sky, so you see the stars like with pieces blown off and like their broken bones, because apparently in this world stars have bones.
And what else would you sing to taunt them?
You would sing "Catch a Falling Star."
Ooh. And put it in your pocket.
Yes.
Never let it fade away.
Fade away. Exactly.
That's fucked.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's like what could describe this whole comic, Kirsten. Just, that's fucked.
But like in the driest, sarcastic way possible.
You just have the little fly guy sitting there smoking his cigarette. It's
100% a joint. Like, just to clarify, he's 100% high.
That's what I thought too. I was like, oh boy.
Oh, see, I saw it as a cigar, and he's just drunk most of the time.
No,
he's also
1,000% thought it was a blunt.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me I'm going to zoom in and enhance.
Blunt check.
Enhance.
like, so just because Gertrude acted so differently after she ate the mushroom cops, they're the mushrooms that foxes eat to get high.
They're
Amanita muscaria.
Yeah,
so they're like red and white.
Fly Amanita, which I know from Skyrim. They're the red one that you pick up in Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
But let me zoom in. Let's do blunt check. It is Jordan is the winner. It is a cigar.
Damn.
What about his eyes?
He's just got
He's
big eyes.
just done with life.
Oh.
And again, with the like setting up Happy and Gertrude completely differently. Happy got this like butterfly who clearly is on her game, which Larry mentions like the second he meets her, he's like, oh, it's you. And the butterfly is like, oh yeah, sorry. Because Larry looks about like he does towards the like beginning of the series, when like he looks as haggard as he does during the series as he does at the very beginning, when Gert is first given him as her companion. So, I mean, she was kind of set up for failure.
You know how like Gertrude is like 37 years old and like a 10-year-old body? What if Larry's like 15 or 12?
He seems old.
He's also had a whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then he committed insurance fraud.
Was it fraud? He did burn down the house.
Yeah, no, that's the
Right.
fraud, because he's the one who burned it down.
Yeah.
Adaptation analysis. How did media adapt this particular story or character, or how should they? They should not.
Should be Nickelodeon's TV show, like Invader Zim.
1,000%.
I might be with Kate on this, because I think the more people you have involved in this, the more it's going to be hard to sell. Because if this thing was animated, it would definitely be like another Rick and Morty type joint, and not even Rick and Morty can be another Rick and Morty joint. So I think part of why this exists and part of why it works is how weird it gets to be, because it's made by like one person who's doing the writing and the art. The best comparison I would say is actually to Invader Zim, because that was able to be made at a time when Nickelodeon, it was exactly the right time when Nickelodeon was able to get away with having something that had that much creative control with one person. It's not something you would be able to do on Nickelodeon now.
Yeah, Nickelodeon had like the most fucked shows back in the day.
Alternatively, this could be done as like a live action, super gory.
Oh,
No? Have we ever seen anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but it's so here's the thing. Modern movies would probably do Fairyland as CGI, and that would not be nearly as interesting as doing this practically. This has the energy of Peter Jackson pre Lord of the Rings doing what it's probably not like actually the record holder for goriest movie, but he did a movie called, it's either, depending on what country you're in, it's either called Brain Dead or Dead Alive, and it is infamously gory. It has like a crazy over the top finale, and I think if he was on whatever kick he was on when he made that movie, and if he was willing to do it practically, I Hate Fairyland would work if it was a Peter Jackson early career, like weird. Again, that movie also weird indie outsider art. If you've ever heard the soundbite of a guy saying "I kick ass for the Lord," that's from that movie.
All right. And then finally, if you enjoyed this comic, what would you recommend our listeners pick up next?
Therapy.
Truly. Truly.
As someone who likes this comic, therapy. But
Johnny the Homicidal Maniac or Invader
yeah,
Zim.
yeah, and we've been name dropping these things. Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, Invader Zim, Squee. Those are all by Jonan Vasquez. It has the energy of a lot of those older things. Like, if you've never seen the art by a guy named Edward Gorey, look him up. If you ever want to know where Tim Burton got half of his aesthetic, it's that plus French Expressionists. He's actually one of those really influential artists.
And if you like the art style but aren't a fan of the story, a lot of Skottie Young's other comics are very much not this type of story. So I'd say pick up Strange Academy if you like magic schools, and Marvel, his Wizard of Oz. So that is a different art style, but it's still a Marvel story.
I have a manga I could recommend based off of this. Pet Shop of Horrors. It's a very good little anthology horror comic. It is, it tells you exactly what kind of story it is because it opens with him, like the guy selling the pets, who is the closest thing you have to like a horror host for this. It opens with him reminding someone to follow the instructions for the gremlins. He sells people pets, and the pets are great and perfect, but they've got some flaw with them, and it's about whether or not someone can like fulfill and grow as a person because the flaw is always laser targeted to who they are as a person. Like there's for instance, I'll just say like one example is there's a rabbit, and the thing is that it's wonderful, but you can only feed it vegetables. Obviously, it's a rabbit, you know. To make a long story short, horrible things happen because the people who own it can't say no to anything, and they'll spoil whatever they're taking care of, whether it's the rabbit or their kid. And because of that, the rabbit like causes mayhem and runs amok. And it alternates between this it's very shoujo, the Japanese like targeted towards girls art style, and then these really crazy horror sequences where like things go wrong. And Pet Shop of Horrors has that like clash of cute and creepy in a big way, and I would definitely recommend that.
All right. Thank you for joining us on Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow comic fans. Also, please consider supporting us via Patreon, where you can listen to episodes before they go live and unlock special bonus content. We will see you next time. Bye.